Okay, let's get into dragging charges. I've said this for like 2 videos in a row now and we never get to it, but I think we can actually do it now. So I explained this like in the last video or maybe the video before that, but I want to say if I'm dragging the mouse over a charge, if the mouse is colliding with a charge and being dragged, I want to update the position of that charge to reflect the position of the cursor. Okay, that's a lot, but yeah, okay. How am I going to do this? So now I need to go through all of my charges as usual. And I'm going to say if I'm going to check all of my collisions. So if the charge and the mouse position are colliding, I want to say that the charges, that specific charge dot position should be equal to the mouse position. And I haven't defined mouse position here, so I'm just gonna get that line from somewhere else, put it in here. So let's see if that works. Okay, so now I can drag. Okay, yeah, so everything's working. So last video, that whole mess that I went through was actually worth it wasn't a complete waste of time. Okay, so now I can drag charges. I can adjust the charge of these charges, and there's gonna be some weirdness coming up. For instance, think through every time I loop through everything, why what you see is why what I'm gonna show you happens is happening, because you can like you can find where in the code this is all going wrong. Well, not entirely wrong. Okay, so if I drag a charge over another charge, you can see I kind of just accumulate all these charges, right? And that's because that's kind of interesting to see all these. Okay, why is this happening? This is happening because this check collision thing is always going to be true, so it's just always going to be kind of updating here. So maybe if I can, as soon as I am colliding with a charge, as soon as the charge is being dragged, I should stop trying to check all the other things. Here's an easy way to get around this. In JavaScript, anytime you put the word return in there, I don't actually have to return anything, but return kind of stops something exactly where it is. So I'm gonna loop through this chart, like through this for every single charge in my array here. But if I stick this return in here, what that's gonna do is it's gonna kind of act like I've gone through this entire loop, and it's just gonna loop back to wherever, like it's just gonna stop in its tracks. So now if I kind of drag this over, you can see it's not really, there's another problem coming up where now that's happening, but now you can kind of see that I'm not collecting all these charges like I was before. But now the index of the charge in my array is like affecting that, because this is going to be the first index, the 0 index in my array, and you can see that's all working as expected. But if I was to grab this one, that happens, which it's not the biggest deal, but fixing it might be important. But yeah, that's something I'm going to leave for you all to do. My approach to this, I don't think I should tell you my approach to this, because that was just one approach and you can come up with your own stuff. Well, yeah, so my approach to this was just, I had another thing in here called this.dragging, and this was also going to be equal to false. So as soon as one of them dragging is true, I stopped checking so when I start dragging on a charge, I set this.dragging equal to true. And then if this.dragging is true for any one of my charges, I'm going to stop trying to check for collisions with other charges. But as soon as I let go of the charge, then this.dragging is false. And it does work, that approach. But you can try your own approach. There's no like one way to do things. So yeah, I'll end this video here. I'll try and make it kind of at least not as long as the past two. And yeah, so next video we can get into let's get into converting physics equations to code, which is something that is pretty important to talk about. All right, I'll see you then.